Welcome to Game Nights with JR. I'm JR, and I'm here to give you a rundown of the feature games that you'll see at our game nights in March. Since it is spring, the weather is warming up, flowers are blooming, allergies are back in full swing, thought it'd be fun to feature some games that celebrate the return to warm weather and new life and all of those other good things that we associate with spring. So let's dive in and see what we're going to be playing in March. First up is Blaze. Blaze is a beautiful little card game. It plays up to five, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's actually based on a Slavic game, and what I love about this one is it's sort of a trick taker in that there is a trump suit and all of that, but it's also semi cooperative. So you're always competing against the person to your left, but you're also getting help from the person to your right. And so it's this careful dance of trying to make sure that you're being just helpful enough to hinder the other players who are trying to score against the person that's whose turn it is, but also not too helpful because you still want to win the game. So it's a really clever balance. It's got some mechanics that are combined in ways that I haven't seen in other card games. It's really short. It plays in about 20 minutes, and the cards are just absolutely gorgeous. So make sure you check out Blaze because it's definitely not like anything else you've ever played. Next up is Kites from Floodgate Games. Who doesn't love flying kites in the spring? I think it's great. And Kites sort of simulates that by using hourglass timers, sand time. I guess they're not hourglass because they don't last an hour, right? But they're sand timers that represent kites up in the air. And once all the sand runs out, the kites fall to the ground. So in Kites, everyone is working together, playing cards, and trying to make sure that all of the kites stay up in the air. So it's a fast, frenetic game. It's a lot of fun, and it's cooperative. So you're all working together to keep the kites in the air as long as possible. It's a pretty simple little game to pick up, but it's a lot of fun. And of course, every time a kite crashes to the ground, there's all kinds of groans and moans, and you want to immediately try to play again to see if you can last just a little bit longer this next time. That's Kites. I think you'll have a blast with it. Next up is a brand new game I picked up at Board Game Geek Con called River Valley Glassworks. It's from All Play Games, which, they're just one of my favorite game publishers. And this game actually is very similar to something like Azul. So if you've ever played Azul, then I think you'll really love River Valley Glassworks. This is a game where you are collecting pieces of glass from a board that simulates a river, so it's always changing, as the river keeps flowing. And you're constantly trying to collect pieces of glass to score in some really clever and simple end game scenarios. And you're going to have to balance in this game between collecting the right pieces of glass, making sure you've built the right rows and columns because they both score differently, and making sure you don't get too many overflow pieces because those count as negative points at the end of the game. So again, it's a drafting game where I probably am going to be angry at you because you took some pieces of glass that I really needed to complete my board. And it's definitely one of those that by the time you finish playing it, you're going to want to play it again because the strategy is just sort of starting to reveal itself. It's beautiful. It's pretty simple to pick up. It's not a terribly long game, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're the kind of person who enjoys puzzle matching and trying to figure out ways to optimize placing the tiles in various patterns and things like that. Again, if you've played Azul, you'll love River Valley Glassworks. It's a very similar uh, type of game, even though they play pretty differently. Next up is Garden Guests. This is another one I discovered at Board Game Geek Con, and it's tremendous fun. You can play it with just two people, but you can also play up to six, and no matter what you do, you're playing on teams. So the board is a garden, and each team is trying to build a chain of bugs on flowers that stretches across the board so that they can get their bugs all the way across. They're the guests that come into your garden. The trick is that all of the teams start on different sides of the board. So if your team gets your line across the board, you're going to cut my team off. This makes it sort of a mad dash for the teams to compete to get their bugs on their flowers. And in every game I've played, there it's ended up where like one group has gotten like most of the way across the board, gotten cut off, and then they have to like circle back around and go around. And that nearly never means that you're not going to win. The game is set up in such a way that it's really easy to keep playing. Oh, and the one thing I forgot to mention is that table talk is strictly forbidden in this game. So you're really having to trust your partner and trying to figure out how strategy works together. And the game's simple enough that that's really easy to do. I've played it with people that I had just met, and it's not like a hindrance if someone is playing with like their best friend or their romantic partner or something like that. It's really simple enough that you can win together. Playing as a 3-on-3 is even crazier. I don't know. This is just a really fun game. It's got some unique mechanisms that are applied in a way that's really simple. The art, if you can't tell, is beautiful, 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 and it's pretty short. So it's really a dream to play. It's a lot of fun, and I think you'll really, really enjoy Garden Guests. Last but certainly not least is a game called Living Forest from Pegasus Spiel Games. It won the Kenner Spiel of the Year in 2022, and it's gotten rave reviews since then. If you play it, you'll see why. Now this game is a little bit longer, but it's a deck builder. So you're playing cards from the top of your deck, and you're trying to optimize your deck as you move through the game to make sure that you can play as many cards and good cards as you can. In this game, you are all competing to see who can be the best guardian spirit of a forest, and you're getting help from various woodland critters and things like that. And the deck builder, so the cards that you're playing, it also contain a press your luck mechanic. So there are cards that have a black seal that are like the bad cards, and if you get three of those in a draw, then you're penalized for that. And so the whole idea is that you're trying to construct your deck in such a way that you can get more and more and more cards. And of course, you can stop whenever you want, but the more cards you play, the more abilities you're going to have when you get to actually play those cards after the drafting round. So it's a really cool game. It looks beautiful on the table. It's got a lot of really cute little mechanisms that work together to create a really fun game. And of course, there's just that little bit of luck so that no matter how carefully crafted your deck is, it's still entirely possible that you just get a bad draw or you decide to go a little bit further than you maybe should have. But just like in a game like, say, Quacks of Quedlinburg, if you draw the three black symbols and you only get one turn instead of two, you're not completely taken out of the game. So you really are encouraged to press your luck a little bit further. And if you do happen to bust, it's not crippling in that way. You can still find a way to succeed and to score the points you need to win. So Living Force is probably the longest game I'm bringing in March, but it does play up to four, and I think you will be delighted by it. Again, beautiful art, clever mechanics, a lot of fun, and an easy way to make some new friends. Well, there you have it. Those are our March feature games. Now, a couple of reminders. We do have two special events coming up this month. The Assassination City Roller Derby game night that's at Scruffy Duffy's on Thursday, March 13th is going to feature an entirely different set of roller derby themed games that will have their own separate videos. So these feature games will not be at the Assassination City Roller Derby night. On the next night after that, Friday, March 14th at Nick's Sports Grill in Rowlett, we are doing a 90s bar trivia night. And so I will be creating a set of bar trivia that is all 90s themed. And then that will start at 7 at Nick's Sports Grill in Rowlett. And then after the bar trivia is over, we will have all of these games plus my typical bag of other games that will be available for folks to play if they want to continue after bar trivia. But those two special events are going to be a little bit more focused. So the roller derby game night and then the 90s trivia. All of the other March game nights will feature these set of feature games. Plus, of course, don't forget that our patrons get to vote on the player's choice. We have some pretty cool player's choice games if you haven't seen those already. So if you're not already a patron, we'd love to have you join the Patreon crew. You can find a link for that in the description. And of course, our patrons are the ones who make these game nights possible. So always want to say thank you to them. And also thank you for the very cool player's choice game that they're going to select for us. This is our March game night. Cannot wait to see you at those. in the comments, please let us know what you're most excited to play. And of course, make sure you like and subscribe to this video so that we can continue to make more of these. See you soon.